Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept our humble obeisances. Shamoini, Mataji, and I will try to facilitate this meeting. We have the presentation from Govind Priya Mataji. She's traveling at the moment, but she's right here on Zoom as well. She has a flight next few minutes, so we are just going to help facilitate the meeting. Very nice to see everyone. I hope you all had a good week. I hope the prayers transforms and will continue to transform all of us. We'll just start with some pranam mantras. Shamoni Mataji, would you like to lead us?
Thank you. Good morning, all. Hare Krishna. Let's invite Srila Prabhupada to our session, our parampara. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale, Srimate, Bhaktivedanta Swamine, Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravane, Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavade, Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sripashadi Guru Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
I will do in slideshow mode so that we can see it nicely. Okay. So this week, our study of prayers was from Queen Kunti's prayers, 1:8:18 to 24. Shamoni Mataji, would you like to take us off?
Sure. Thank you. So, we're setting the context before we enter the prayer. So, first of all, we have to understand who is Kunti Devi. So, we know she's a queen. She's a widow, King Pandu, mother of to the rulers of Hastinapur after the war. She is Krishna's Bua, his aunt, his sister of Vasudeva, in a lifelong intimate relationship with the Lord as a family. She's a devotee, and Srila Prabhupada calls her among the greatest devotees, and her prayer shows a rare depth of understanding. She's the mother of the Pandavas, so she raised Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakul, and Sahdev through exile, hardship, and war. She saw the whole Mahabharata unfold, and while exiled in Kurukshetra, and the cost of both victory and loss. And Krishna, at this moment, Krishna departs from Dwarka, and Kunti Devi does not ask him to stay. She offers his prayer instead. And let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
So once the war is over, Yudhishthira has been crowned king. Krishna is preparing to return to Dwarka, and this is the moment that Kunti Devi chooses to pray. We remember Krishna is just about to leave. He's in his chariot, and Kunti Devi comes to him. And what is she doing? She has seen Krishna act as a charioteer, mediator, as the one who revealed Bhagavad Gita in the battlefield. Arjuna's psychologist, right? When Arjuna has that meltdown, Krishna is right there giving the advice. He listens to him, and so she's witnessed that. Something that she doesn't ask is to stay, not for protection, wealth, her family's safety. He prays. Her prayer is not a petition in the ordinary sense, and she glorifies. She reflects on who he is, where he is, why he cannot be seen, and why calamity might serve for better than comfort. Because many times when things are going well, we don't remember the Lord, we're not connected in prayer. But when things are not going our way, That's the time when we really ask the Lord what is the intention or what is the purpose before our prayer. So Srila Prabhupada in his purpose says that Kunti Maharani presents her prayer in such a humble way that she pleads for calamities only for the sake of remembering the Lord. Who can pray like that? Can we pray like, yes, please, God, give me more calamities? On the contrary, we are trying to get rid of the suffering, and we pray for the protection. And sometimes we misunderstand protection, because the real protection is actually remembering Krishna when we need the most, when we are ready to depart. That's the time. And Srila Prabhupada actually gave a very important instruction. What is that instruction? Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. Under all circumstances. It may sound very easy, but it is actually not. So we are going to start with the first verse. And because we are going to be reading the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm sorry, I think somebody trying to connect. Okay. Because we are going to be reading from Bhagavatam. Thing is, we should give the prayers. We should recite the prayers for
Yeah.
the
And it's
verses.
on the slide as well. So yeah, I yeah.
Is it, are they?
Yeah, the verse and the translation is on the slide.
Okay. No, it's just okay. Let's see. Will you? Thank you.
Yeah, yes, I can help you. Yeah.
Yes. No. It was the
It-
arrow was right on top of
oh, I
the.
see, I see.
Thank
Okay.
you. Okay.
Are you seeing the right slide?
Namasya Purusham
1882.
Tvaya.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Namasya Purusham Tvayam Ishvaram Prakriti Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antarbahiravistitam. Word by word. Kunti Vacha. Kunti said, Namasye, I bow down. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Va, you. Adyam, the original. Ishvaram, the controller. Prakriti, of material nature. Param, beyond. Alaksham, unseen. Sarvabhutanam, of all living beings. Antabahim, within and without. Avasitam, situated. So key words here, alaksham, unseen, imperceptible to material senses. The translation, I offer my obeisances unto you, O Lord, who are the original personality of Godhead, the controller even of Lord Brahma, who are beyond the perception of the material senses, and who are the inner and outer witness of everyone. So here Kunti opens with Namaskara, not a petition. She establishes her mood before asking for anything at all. So prayer, we are open our respects. And we have seen this from the first canto, the first verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. What do the sages do? The sages are not demanding. The sages first are offering respects and are asking submissively. So all throughout is humble approach, humble um, respect and humble inquiring. And then Purusham, Purusham names like Krishna as the original person, not as impersonal force. A direct answer to impersonalist philosophy. Lord Brahma himself declares in Brahma Samhita, right? Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. Sachitananda Vigrahas, who is full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So he is Antarbir Avashtitam, within the heart as Paramatma, and without as the sum of creation, yet still a Laksham, unseen. And Srila Prabhupada notes the paradox was not theoretical for Kunti. Krishna stood before her as her nephew, yet also entered the womb of Uttara to shield the unborn Parikshit. Remember when Ashwatthama hits that arrow and wants to kill the seed of the Pandavas, and who was there to protect him? Krishna. So he's both localized and all-pervading. Ordinary vision simply isn't equipped to hold both at once. So we have to understand here that Kunti Devi's prayers should not be understood as um, uh, just as a woman, as an impediment to spiritual advancement. Kunti prayers, they are a profound expression of humility, um, uh, she is um, she's giving us an example of how uh, we should put reverence before a request, right? Again,
That
her
picked my
pain.
attention as well. Like she's not just asking Krishna straight away that please give me this, or definitely not her mood, but her mood is also that, she's giving some truth and philosophy here that you, the Supreme Personality, like she's saying, you're within and without. Who can approach you, right? We have no qualification, but still he's letting us approach him.
Exactly. And all through her, I mean, she endured exile, humiliation, and repeated attempts, on her children's lives, and the war, and um, she does not become, start by telling him, oh, we have faced this and we have faced that, and we have suffering so much, but rather she sets the mood of a pure devotee, and and devotion begins not with what we want from God, but realizing or recognizing who He is. Our needs He will cover, our wishes and our wants are different. So only after establishing His supreme position, then she continues with the deeper realization, right? That then, of course, unfolds throughout the prayers. So in this single phrase, she carries a profound significance, and everything personal that we experience is in this world. This world exists because we can see it, but what is the unseen? Even in that, in the air that we breathe, in everything that is around, there is Krishna's there, and so it is a tiny reflection of this, just eternal personality. So I don't know if and then you want to jump in, or anybody else would like to unmute, uh, and
I'm sorry, I'm in a really, really noisy place. Can you still hear me
Yeah,
yes,
we can hear you.
without the background noise, or you can hear a lot of background noise?
no,
Yeah,
you're
not
okay.
so much. You're okay. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that, first of all, don't spend so much time on each verse because otherwise this is going to go for at least 2 hours. But I wanted to mention something about this verse is that I titled this verse as the unseen witness because there's three very important aspects of this verse. One, like I mentioned in my notes, that Kunti Maharani actually starts her prayers with offering obeisances.
Mm.
Mhm.
And there's great significance in that because whenever you're offering prayers, you'll see, even when we write notes to devotees or we write an email, what's the first thing we say? Please accept my humble obeisances. So, accepting a position of subordination actually opens the doors for being able to be empowered to even pray to the Lord. We can see even in Dhruv Maharaj's pastimes that he actually tried to offer obeisances, but he struggled to even express himself. That's when the Lord puts the conch shell on his head. And within that conch shell is all the empowerment. So immediately, when we offer namaskar, There is a beautiful episode that comes in Mahabharat where uh, Arjuna comes to offer obeisances to Bhishma Pitama. And Bhishma Pitama, Bhishma Dev, he actually gives him the blessings of that may you live forever or live a very long life, Dirgayu. So at that point, Duryodhan says that, you are the chief commander of my army and you're blessing my opponent with long life. So he said, anyone that offers obeisances has to receive blessings. That's why anytime, first of all, we take the position of subordination and it becomes we become entitled to blessings of the Lord simply by offering namaskar, by offering obeisances. That's one aspect that I wanted to bring out in this verse. The second is the very word here, purusham, means not only the actually the shastras say that Krishna is the only male and everybody else is the feminine energy of the Lord, right? So he's the only Purusha, but Purusha also means the oldest person or the original person. And it's significant here because even though Krishna has taken the role of Kunti Maharani's nephew, who's younger in position, because somebody may ask that why is a senior person offering obeisances, like why is an aunt offering obeisances to her nephew? Doesn't make sense. So she immediately mentions that I'm not offering you obeisances as my nephew, but I'm offering you obeisances as the original Purusha.
Hmm.
And the third point in this verse is very significant is that Antir Bahir. Antir, Krishna is present. He knows, he's cognizant of all our thoughts in the form of Paramatma. All our thoughts are deep desires, things that even we have forgotten, right? In Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna is saying that Arjuna is like, you know, I don't remember this or I don't know this. Krishna says, what? You don't remember, but I remember. I've been with you through all these lifetimes. So Krishna is cognizant not only of our this lifetime, our desires, but also of the millions of lifetimes we've lived. He's never left us in the form of Paramatma. And then without, in the form of the Dikpalas, the 10 directions, all of them are agents. Krishna is present in every atom and he becomes cognizant of everything that exists. So these 3 points are very significant. I think if you go to the next verse and just focus on the three few points that you get from each verse, um, and then share your reflection. If there's something else that strikes to you, I did put there a point of discussion in this slide, which I think can be something introspective, something that you can introspect about that verse. Like in this particular verse, and my screen is so small.
It says,
Okay.
what does it mean that the Lord is within and without, yet
Exactly. So,
imperceptible?
right. When I was thinking, I said, what does it really mean for me when Kunti Maharani is saying that, you're cognizant of everything that I have um, desired, everything that I've wanted. You're cognizant internally and externally. What does it really mean to me? Have I really witnessed that Krishna is? Have I felt His presence in such a way that it's like it could be something really small. Krishna fulfills all desires, big and small. So we have to be mindful. Like I remember one time um, I was really looking forward. I lost my keychain, and I said, okay, I'm just going to go buy a keychain. And I kept forgetting. And the next thing I know, I walk into the temple and I said, I really need a keychain. And at that very point, a devotee comes and gives me a keychain. And it's a small thing, but I felt like, oh my God, Krishna really is present. So that's just the direction. I'm sorry with all the noise in the background, but maybe you all can continue with the next verse.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, and I guess we have to take the next one.
Okay, 19. And for the interest of time, I think we've all read this as our homework, hopefully. So I'll skip the verse and the Sanskrit. Maybe we can read. Um, and Mataji, Shamoni Mataji, you can look at the chats, and if anybody raises their hands, we can also include them as well. This is very interactive. This is the next verse, 19th verse. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is unrecognized. So, definite theme in this verse is the curtain of Maya, right? We can see that there is the curtain, obviously not in front of Krishna, but in front of us, Jiva. Krishna is Adhokshaja. We cannot perceive him with our material eyes. And I'm just reading from my notes as well. And who can approach this Dokshaja? He's beyond material perception. But at the same time, we can perceive him in our everyday things. When we chant Krishna's name, when we cook for Krishna, when we serve him, we're mindful of him. So still Krishna is perceived in that way. And sometimes we are praying to Krishna, Krishna be with me. But even deeper is please remove whatever prevents me from seeing you, right? That's the curtain of Maya. He's always there with us, but whatever obstructs our way, like Shamoini Mataji was saying, always remember Krishna, and I should never forget Krishna. So, and I was remembering when I was chanting that day, when I was reading this verse, that we feel dry in our chanting as well because we don't truly believe Krishna is his name. But Krishna is truly present. He is Abhinatvam from his name as well. So this verse is bringing I'll read the 3 points. The metaphor, it's an actor in costume. He's unrecognized by the very audience that knows him, right? We read about the Maya, the curtain of Maya. So the Lord moves among us in plain sight. The concealment is not on his side. The curtain is his own energy, Maya, and it governs what the unsurrendered soul is permitted to see. And this verse also echoes Bhagavad Gita 7:5, where Kunti is reciting Krishna's own teaching back to him now as a prayer. Srila Prabhupada here says that less intelligent persons mistake the Lord for an ordinary man and deride him for it. We've seen that a lot of other people outside of our association, they say he's an ordinary person. He just came here. He got an ordinary form, 2 hands, 2 legs. He's doing some pastimes which an ordinary person can also do. But that's just bewildered. Krishna bewilders us. He's not ordinary. He's nothing but ordinary. We all know that. And like I said, the main theme of this verse is that not that Krishna be with me. Like when we are in trouble, especially when we are in trouble, we pray that Krishna, please be with me. But that's not, even deeper, even higher is, remove the curtain of Maya from my eyes. You're always there. Let me just see you in everything. My distress, my sufferings, especially in those times. Anybody has anything to add from your reading here?
And the message is actually Ravindra Prabhu. It's like also same applies for devotees. We have not much knowledge of their exalted position. They may move around like ordinary people.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna, I can add something.
Yes,
So from my notes, so in the previous verse, Kunti Maharani is saying that you are invisible, even though you are within and without, you are invisible. And now in this verse, she is explaining why and to whom he is invisible. So she's saying that for mudha, for foolish people, foolish people, he is invisible because they are thinking Krishna as an ordinary person, even though he has exhibited so many pastimes where he is showing that he is not an ordinary person. And as well as people who don't understand the supremacy or the authority of Krishna. For them, he is invisible. So, in the first prayer, when Queen Kunti Maharani is actually starting the prayer with her obeisances or glorifying Lord Krishna as the supreme controller, and then saying invisible, then that actually triggers the curiosity in me, like, okay, who is he invisible? And then she's explaining that here. Also, I want to add that Alaksham, that word was actually the invisible words stood out for me in that particular verse, saying that, okay, he is invisible. Then how can I see him? What should I do to see him? How can I feel the presence and all that? And also these verses, I want to add one more point and then I'll stop. That all these prayers, actually, I used to think that Prarthana means, or prayer means, appeal to Krishna, going to the Lord with a list of things or your problems and things like that. But here, Queen Kunti is showing a great example that instead of listing all the things that she wants or needs, really glorifying Lord Krishna and stating his supremacy. And then with the humble mode, she's saying, I'm in Stri, and then with that humble mode, she is offering her obeisances and then expressing her gratitude and all that. So it's such a wonderful, wonderful example of a prarthana.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for bringing that point. You just reminded me of Radhika Raman Prabhu. I was hearing him and he was just mentioning something about prayers, and he said, yeah, that's true. Prayers is a relationship, it's not a transaction. So when we pray, we should not get a list of things to Krishna. It's a loving relationship. And these devotees in the pages of Bhagavatam are really teaching us how to deepen our relationship with with Krishna rather than bargaining for favors. Yes, we were there before we became a devotee, but now we need to have a relationship. And he says prayers. Mataji also, Govinda Mataji also on the first call says, with each character, with each of these character in Bhagavatam, you establish a relationship, right? So and then prayers, just it's a window to the soul into each of their hearts. So thank you so much for bringing this. We'll move on to the next verse, Shamini Mataji 20.
Thank you. So how does one come to know you? Tata Paramahamsanam Munina Mala Tatmanam Bhakti Yoga Vidadartam Gatam Pashe Mahishriya. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service onto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How, then, can we women know you perfectly? Now, Kunti Devi's questions, how then can women like us know you perfectly? This is not a statement about spiritual capacity of women, but rather is a profound expression of humility. Because although she has personally witnessed Krishna's divinity and repeatedly experienced his protection, she does not claim that that she has any qualification, but instead she points out that even the most exalted souls, like the Paramahamsas, the Munis, those who are completely purified hearts, can know the Lord only through bhakti yoga, not through scholarships and austerity or speculation. So her message is that external qualifications, whether birth, gender, education, or social position, are never the basis for realizing Krishna. So the only true qualification is love and devotion. And as we know, the Lord is Bhakti Jitadva, right? He's conquered by Bhakti, by love. So Kunti Devi's words, Nakshriya, just reflects humility of a pure devotee. And indicating that everyone who feels spiritually unqualified before the Lord is actually qualified. And Srila Prabhupada explains that the emphasis is not on gender but on humility. Again, this is this key word, right? Humility. So this verse offers great hope to everyone, every practitioner, every devotee, that access to Krishna is open to all who approach him with faith, with humility, with devotion. And the keynotes here is that three categories of highly qualified are named: the Paramahamsas, the Munis, the Amalatatmanam, the inwardly purified, and even they reach him only through Bhakti Yoga. Her question is rhetorical humility, not literal claim of inability. She is establishing a principle: Bhakti, not birth or position, is the real qualification. And this anticipates Krishna's own promise in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, that anyone, regardless of birth, reaches him through unalloyed devotion. So let's discuss, have you ever felt unqualified to approach the Lord? What does Kunti Devi's question reveal about qualification in bhakti?
I guess I was thinking when I was reading this verse was that I have a daughter, and when she approaches me with the right to approach, because a child doesn't need a right to approach her mother, right? By becoming perfect. Yesterday we were having a home program, and I was there. I was introducing the speaker, and she was like, "I want you right now," and I'm giving her this test. Wait, just 2 minutes, and she just wouldn't wait. So I was just thinking that we don't have to be qualified enough to approach Krishna. We will never be qualified, right? But the question is, can I approach Krishna honestly without all my pretense, without all the ego that I have, without all I am this. Even in the devotee world, even as a Vaishnava, we think that we have so much, and Krishna would like me, or this is the package I'm going to present in front of Krishna. But I have to strip away myself of all these identities that I am, and I'm just a soul servant of Krishna. So yeah, and bhakti really begins not by the confidence that I can reach Krishna. Of course, Krishna says you cannot reach me directly. You have to reach me through devotees, right? My servant of my servant. But the faith that Krishna is merciful enough to reach me. We can never reach Krishna. We can never chant his names. But Krishna is being merciful, right? He is lending his hand down, and he's saying, "Okay, come." He's throwing the rope, and he's saying, come up, try to come up, try to climb up." So this is what I was thinking when I was reading this verse, but open to anyone who has some reflections. I think next week Mataji is going to be back and make us all talk.
So
Yes,
we're
Sangeeni
practicing.
Mataji, I saw you on mute. Yeah.
I think the feeling of unqualified is itself coming from humility, right? So when somebody doesn't have that ego and much more of a submissive mode, always think that I'm not qualified enough. So that is a humility is one of the, I think the key word in bhakti also we hear all the time that attracts Krishna. And Krishna is far, far, far high with an address in Goloka Vrindavan, but at the same time, he is within us as Paramatma. And the Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, all that makes us our surrender to Krishna a little bit more easier and accessible. And I think our acharyas have given us some tips and tricks to approach Krishna as well. And one of this is Harinam. So I feel like him being the supreme father of all of us, father, approaching father, sometimes it's difficult. We go through the mother. So that's why we have Srimati Radharani. And then through Srimati Radharani, we approach. And in between, we have Guru. So with all that, even though unqualified, feels like we can still approach and pray to Krishna and glorify him and speak about his glories because of his unlimited mercy. And being the Yashoda Nandan with that flute and running around with the Gopas, his pastimes even make us a little bit more attracted towards Krishna, right? So even though with as a Stree, as unqualified, all this actually helps. And to approach our Supreme Father, seeing him as the Supreme Father and being the Amsha of him helps. And that's how I see it. But Queen Kunti's humility is actually showing in this particular, even though she's the aunt. She's the aunt, a relative. Even then, she's feeling like, as a Stree, what should I do?
I'd like to add a comment because sometimes, this verse can be misused, right? So like, okay, women are not qualified, they're less intelligent, etc. But again, we have to understand that her prayers should not be understood as a teaching that being a woman is an impediment to spiritual advancement. Rather, they are again a profound expression of humility, and I think humility is kind of the key word here, because she places herself among those in society, right, traditionally less qualified per se, but not to diminish women, but to emphasize that qualification for understanding Krishna does not arise from birth, etc., but her mood rather reflects, the essence of bhakti, that genuine humility, that purity, and many exalted women, Draupadi, Mother Devahuti, the gopis themselves, right? Who are better example than the gopis of Vrindavan, right? So they're the highest examples of devotion. So this demonstrates that pure love for Krishna goes above, it transcends all material designations. So therefore, you should never conclude, and nobody should conclude, that womanhood is a spiritual disadvantage. On the contrary, it's a very powerful tool. And we are all blessed because, after all, the first thing we understand when we take up Krishna consciousness is that we are not this body, but we are a spirit soul. Or like Ramburu Prabhu says beautifully, we are more than this body. We're a spirit soul. And spirit soul does not have gender.
Nicely summed up. Thank you so much, Ramani Mataji. That's what Srila Prabhupada used to say as well. Thank you. I'll go to the next verse. I know Mataji wanted us to finish on time,
Yeah.
and we'll just skip the Sanskrit. 21 is beautiful verse, like we were all talking about, and Sangini Mataji also, she was mentioning about this. Then we try to create a relationship with Krishna, but how do we create? We start with the tattva, we start with the obeisances, and then we go to the sweetness. So these are the components of prayers. Like we start with obeisances, then we go to the sweetness, and then you will see there'll be gratitude as well. Right, jumping into the list of things that we want from Krishna, there's a progression, and this is one of the components, I think, second components, which is sweetness. So
I'm sorry,
she's
I don't see the screen, the share. Is that sharing? I don't see
yeah,
the.
I'm sharing. Yeah.
Okay, so then I don't know what I did with it. Okay, go ahead.
Can I get a confirmation? You can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
You
thank
can.
you.
Okay.
Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudev, the pleasure of Devki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and senses. And this verse is mentioning names of Krishna, 5 names and 5 relationships. Krishna, we know Krishna, he's all attractive. Vasudev is Vasudeva's son. Devaki Nandana, he's Devaki's son, Devaki's joy. Nanda Gopa Kumara, He's Nanda's boy, and Govinda, he's the joy of the cows and the senses as well. Govinda, right? Go means senses. And Srila Prabhupada is comparing Krishna with his full identification, his father's name, his mother's name, his address. So he's giving who Krishna really is. Yes, he's Namaste Purusha Madhyam. He's the ultimate Purusha. Like I said, the first component is about obeisances. But now the second component is who is he? He's a person. His father is Nanda Maharaj, mother is Yashoda. And then his address is he's the cowherd boy in Vrindavan. And then again she's saying Namo Nama. So obeisances is repeated, right? It's carrying the weight of her surrender. That's what Govind Pramataji was also explaining in a previous call that yeah, each name reveals who Krishna is. He is there in Golok Vrindavan, like Sangini Mataji was saying. He is Paramatma in our heart, but he is also this supreme person who is supremely beautiful. And this makes Krishna more approachable, right? This makes us have a relationship with Krishna, and it strips away the all the royalty, like oh Krishna, we cannot approach you, because just before that we were Queen Kunti was saying, who can approach you? We don't need qualification, we just need humility, like Matajis were discussing. And yeah, so these are the names of Krishna. Um, and personally, we can all reflect when we are chanting or even when we are meditating on Krishna, that which name of Krishna feels most accessible to me, or feels most, is I most resonate with. Not merely a supreme Lord, because in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism we have to be more in on the sweetness side. So someone I can love, like someone I can serve, someone I can depend on. Oh yeah, right. Oh Madan Mohan, or sometimes we give our own names, right? You're such a trickster, Krishna. I lost my specs. I just had it here. So we just establish our own relationship with Krishna. I'll go on to the next one. Shamoini Mataji.
I have a question here. When I was reading all the names, Yashoda Nandana or Yashodama's name is not mentioned at all here in Kunti Maharani. So I was wondering that, but I love Nanda Gopakumaraya. But I was wondering, I was thinking like why Kunti Maharani didn't mention anything about
I
Yashodama.
think I heard Gaurang Darshan Prabhu on this and Gaurang Darshan Prabhu said, Yasho. So these are all the devotees. Of course, they are very, very important in Krishna's life, but Mother Yashoda is very, very important. So she has her own verse, and it'll come towards the end. And she has a place, and she has her own place, which has to be magnified and amplified. That is what Prabhu said. And yeah, Queen Kunti didn't want to fit her in this, because Mother Yashoda's love was boundless, and we have a verse of Mother Yashoda which is going to come up later, and she
Okay.
deserves that place as well. So yeah, I think I heard that, and somebody had that same question.
Thank you, Anjali.
Okay, 22.
Okay, so for the sake of time, I'll just go to the translation in keywords. So, uh, let us fit, let us eyes. So my obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are as blissful as the lotus flower. So 4 lotuses in one breath. So the lotus navel, the seat of creation. We remember Lord Brahma comes from the navel. And the lotus garland, beauty, the lotus glance, the mercy and coolness, the lotus feet, the object of all meditation. Then the lotus navel is not incidental. Brahma himself is born from the lotus growing out of it. So this verse folds the origin of the universe into a single image. And just remember how powerful is Mother Yasoda, which is we're talking about Mother Yasoda, because Damodar Astaka, what's happened? And we're trying to hold the universe right there. And so who can do that? And Kunti is performing Archana, worship of the transcendental form through words alone. So this is meditation, no description. Srila Prabhupada says that The lotus feet of the Lord are the supreme object of meditation, and every yoga system, whatever its starting point, is said to culminate here. So in this verse, Kunti Devi moves from glorifying Krishna's transcendental nature to meditating on his beautiful personal form. And through the repeated images of lotuses, she worships his lotus navel, the source of creation, his lotus garland, a symbol of divine beauty and exchange, his lotus eyes filled with mercy and compassion, and his lotus feet. Of course, we all start from his feet. And so the eternal shelter of every devotee, right? We're going to take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. I'm taking shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. It's always at the lotus feet. So this is not just a poetic description, but rather is archana. It's a worship through love and meditation, as Srila Prabhupada explains, right? The lotus feet of Krishna are the ultimate goal of all the genuine spiritual paths. So this represents like the surrender, so complete surrender, and the soul's eternal refuge. So over here, Kunti Devi is reminding us that meditation in this prayer is deeply personal. So by chanting Krishna's name, by worshiping his deity form, by hearing his pastimes and remembering his transcendental beauty, the mind is purified and naturally develops love and devotion. So that is the goal of that meditation. And it's not just an impersonal void, but it's actually the all attractive Krishna. And so why does Kunti Devi describe the Lord's form in such a physical detail? Why does meditating on his lotus field, is good for the mind? Anyone? Or shall we go any, mini, many more? And so let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, if you're shy, you can also write in the text and
In the
see
chat.
the
Yeah,
chat is
just
also.
remember, yeah, so this is a very friendly environment. Nobody's going to criticize anyone. We are all learning from each other. So this is a very secure environment. I always learn from all of you. So I love to hear from anyone.
I was also thinking that, an abstract God can be respected, right? When we don't know about him, when we think that he's the supreme person, he's impersonal, whatever, he's the universe, all pervading, which doesn't truly attract a devotee's mind. But he can be respected because he's great, he's omnipotent. But when you know who God really is, like Namo Pankajanabhaya, Govinda, you know his name, you really love him. And my Guru Maharaj always used to say that when you love someone, you notice the detail. And that's what Queen Kunti is doing here. That you notice all the details, you notice all the small things about them, the marks, and like I would see everything on my daughter's face. I know everything, like where's a mole, where's a small thing, and and when we know about Krishna, we know all the details, and that's how we start meditating on his personal qualities.
Yes, that's true. That's the difference between infatuation and love. So I like it, I like him. But when we really love, then we pay attention. Then we even sacrifice. Love is sacrifice. We sacrifice. We sacrifice our endless nights to take care of our children. So in the same way, when we love Krishna and we love his creation. Beautiful. Thank you. So we like to continue then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was also thinking each verse of Queen Kunti, I did an exercise long back before. I can share my notes, translating into a chanting meditation. So this verse, when I was reading this verse, like our mind is so restless, but when a form comes, it anchors the mind to a restless, anchors the restless mind to a form. So a beautiful form gives mind a resting place, like his lotus eyes, lotus feet. So when you're chanting, you can focus. We haven't seen Krishna, but really who has seen Krishna, right? And we see Krishna through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So we see the lotus eyes, we see the lotus feet, and that becomes an anchor during our chanting as well. So this is really great comparison, and you can see how Queen Kunti is progressing in her prayers. She's still not reached the point that this is the list. This is what I want from you. So this is all making the relationship with the Supreme Soul so beautiful. This is one of my favorite verses in this week, 23. O Rishikesh, master of the senses and lord of the lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious king Kamsa, and myself and my children from a series of constant dangers. This is a very, very, a deep verse where this verse says that it's marking a shift in Queen Kunti's prayers. It's saying that she stopped glorifying Krishna as a universal form, even the beautiful form, and now she starts remembering how his personal interventions in her life has been. So she's offered her respects, her glorification now, and she's given who Krishna really is, his sweetness, and now she's trying to remember how Krishna has intervened in her life. So prayer has become her testimony, right? It's no more like, oh, the Supreme Tattva and who is Krishna, but Queen Kunti is not saying, please protect me. She's saying, you already have been protecting me. And that's what we should also see in our lives, that Krishna, you've always been there. And she's building her faith up, right? And that's how she's teaching us. She's a pure devotee but she's teaching us that, you know, not on what hopes that Krishna would do in my life, but also what Krishna has already done. So she's recollecting all these points that Devaki's imprisonment, her own dangers, Krishna's repeated protections. That is what she's reading in this verse. So we keep a bank account of all the grace, all the great, all the gratitude that Krishna has done for us. So whenever a new difficulty comes, we are taking out from that bank account, not by saying, why is this happening? But that Krishna has carried me through all these sufferings already, and now this is another difficulty. He will carry me. So anytime a new difficulty comes, we always think, okay, Krishna, will you protect me? I hope you can protect me. And I hope I can survive this. But when we remember that, Krishna has already carried us through all these sufferings, he has carried us, right? And that is what Queen Kunti is saying. He's carried me through all these difficulties. And Queen Kunti is not comparing herself with Devaki. This is also one of the points I remember from Gangadeshwaran Prabhu. But to glorify his mercy. So as you protected Mother Devaki, she's saying, right? She doesn't compare suffering. She compares Krishna's compassion here. And in this verse, she's seeing one thread running through her entire life. She's saying that we'll see in the successive verses, like Krishna has protected her from the whole family, from fire, from exile, from war, from poison, and she's seeing this one person behind every rescue. So there's a pattern there. Anybody wants to add there? Mataji's also added in the slide that the comparison is not self-glorification. Of course, Queen Kunti is not glorifying. Kunti uses her own history purely as an evidence of his personal repeated intervention. There's a chain of intervention that she's building a case that, and the case is the 25th verse, where she will say Vipada Shantu Satchatvat, and that'll come next week. Sorry. Oops. I moved too fast. Okay. Anybody has some reflections? The discussion point here was, can you identify repeated dangers in your own life where Krishna's protection became visible, perhaps only in hindsight?
Um, yes, Mataji. So here, Queen Kunti, as you mentioned, like is shifting from obeisances to gratitude. She's expressing her gratitude towards Krishna in various situations in her life. Um, what I noticed is, personally in my life, is whenever there is a difficult situation, and difficult in quote unquote, and or distressful situation, those are really like Krishna's mercy. We say that all the time. Sometimes it's like a cliche, but that mercy is because sometimes we have the strongest realization when we go through the distress. So that distress is actually really a learning point, and as well as Krishna showering the mercy in such a way that you can get the most beautiful realization during that period. So I find that Krishna rescuing you by in those situations by giving you strength to go through that situation, as well as giving you the best realization in your life, and attracting and when we go through distress, or when we make a mistake and really repent on that mistake, that increases our surrender to Krishna, as well as to Guru. um, so I connect very well with this verse as well, very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your reflection. Yeah, I was also thinking that any calamity comes, even small, like I started a new job this week and it's just consuming all my time. And I was just thinking that Krishna, I want some time to remember you. But then when I read this verse, it was very timely. And I was just thinking that, we think that calamity interrupts our spiritual life or even our life in general, but it doesn't interrupt, it intensifies our spiritual life. And that's what Queen Kunti is teaching us, right? That any suffering that comes, it increases our dependence. It should increase our remembrance on Krishna. Krishna's presence has to be dominant, and it is dominant at that time. Um, Chamoyini Mataji, do you want to add something, or should I go to the
I'm
next
going to
one?
share something quickly because in the
Yes.
exam, because it was during COVID, and at the beginning of COVID, we ended up in the hospital, and it was my just had to monitor because my oxygen levels were coming down and down and down, and just the alarm and everything. Long story short, I was just thinking like, this is it. What I'm trying to, I'm connected to all these tubes, these pipes, and everything. I didn't want to be connected to the respirator because I wanted to be conscious. But I was thinking about everything but Krishna, and I
Mm.
was in so much anxiety. My children, my taxes, my everything, but Krishna. And it wasn't until it hit me like, I'm here. I'm connected to all these cables. I cannot move. I'm dependent on these doctors. And of course, I'm actually dependent on Krishna. When it hit me, I said, is this what surrender feels like?
Mm.
That you understand that only Krishna can save me. When I started thinking that way, my anxiety level dropped and my oxygen level began to flow. So yes, Krishna is that we may not be able to see him, but we can see him in a different ways. You can feel him in different ways, and that's the protection. I just wanted to share. I know it's very personal, but it does come because sometimes our mind is everywhere. Although we think that yes, we are surrendering, we're trying to surrender, but are we really? When something like that hits, it's like, yes, this is what it feels, and it's humbling. So he'll send
I
those
think the real
lessons.
calamity is to forget Krishna.
Yes,
And
exactly. And see what the danger. It says under any circumstances, that's the real protection, that we are remembering Krishna. So this is all training.
yeah,
So
this
we
verse is beautiful. It's like Queen Kunti is not recounting that my life is full of disasters, but she's shifting her perspective that Krishna has never failed me. And she's
exactly,
right. So, yeah.
exactly. So that last verse.
Yes.
Um.
You can read the
So
translation. Yeah.
yeah, my dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought, and now from the weapon of the son of Drona. So over here, Now the Tulsi Maharani is naming all the 7 dangers, right? This is not just a list of complaints. See what you have sent us. Each item actually is offered as a gratitude, as a proof that protection came every single time without exception. And it is in the next verses you will see how having shown a lifetime of rescue, that when Krishna came and rescued Kunti and the Pandavas, okay, now is, he's asking for something far stranger than safety. So Srila Prabhupada notes that a devotee is never without protection, and even the most extreme circumstances, and naming one's difficulties before the Lord is in itself an act of gratitude and not grievances. And we are taught that, well, thank you, Lord, because yes, you saved me from this. I got hurt. I got a fall, but it could have been worse. I could have just gotten into the accident. So you minimize the the danger for me. So
Yeah, I mean, this verse is actually a meditation exercise, like
yes,
spiritually journaling, like she's revisiting her past, not to show victim mentality, but she's showing that how many times you've saved us. And that's what we all should do, right? General gratitude is good, but specific gratitude, like Krishna, every day we should say, right, we should at the end of the day or the beginning of the day we should have a gratitude journal. So specific gratitude, when you write down, it transforms the hearts. General gratitude is easy. Krishna, you've given me the breath, I'm able to walk. But if you be very specific and write that down, it transforms the heart, it transforms your relationship, it transforms the miseries, because we see that one protector behind. And that this verse actually brought that out for me, that she's not saying that, oh Krishna, how unfair you could be, look how my life has been. But she's saying, Look how many times war, poison, exile, whatever, all these calamities, how many times you have saved us. So it also shifts us from the victim mentality as well.
yes.
Yeah.
It changes from the why me, from the why me mentality, why is this happening to me, into, well, thank you. And when we are being thankful, we thank you for giving for what we have, but also thank you for what we do not have.
That's true.
So we in gratitude, you had a key, a key element there of gratitude, because when we are ungrateful, see what happened to Duryodhana. He was a truly ungrateful personality, and so we have to be thankful to everyone, to Krishna, to him, to Prabhupada, to everyone who comes together. I'm grateful for their association, because through your association we are learning, we are connecting, and we are remembering Krishna more and more. And that in itself is going to carry probably through the days up to the next week. And we remember the powerful points also made by Govinda Priya Prabhu. And that's in your mind. That's in our mind. And what are we doing? We are remembering Krishna under all circumstances, whether at work, or we don't have to be in the temple or only in the sessions to remember. Throughout our lives, we are remembering how we behave with others. We are remembering Krishna and acknowledging that Krishna is there. And yes, instead of saying, why me? Why is it happening? It's frustrating. But even that we can offer to Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ramani Mataji. And I will move to the last. So the key themes from week 1, Mataji's put together so kindly for us. The first verse that we read, 18th, Namesha is Purusham Tadam, within and without all living beings, yet unseen by the material eye. So it's a paradox of the Lord. The second is the role of Maya, Maya putting the curtain. And we're just summarizing here. Then the third, bhakti is the only path. How do we know you, right? That's what Queen Kunti was praying, and she's saying that bhakti is the only path. Then she's saying, names the relationships, right? Krishna, Govinda, Devaki, Nandana. Then gratitude is a prayer. She lists all her dangers as evidence of mercy and not as a complaint. And then the last verse that we just read will be a segue to the next verse, which is often feared, but often deep, powerful, very profound. And yeah, it's just building up to that. Memorization verse. Mataji is not here to quiz us, and we are short of time. So I hope all of you did memorize this verse, Nigama Kalpatarur. If anybody wants to recite this verse, I can stop sharing and we can. Anybody wants to take a stab at reciting the verse?
I can try, Mataji, but I think we are over the time, so that's why
Yes, please, Mataji. Let's end with this verse. If yeah.
निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुक्तं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your association. I think next week's assignment is already on the drive. It's from verse 25 to 31. This presentation is also in the drive. If you cannot access, please let us know. But 25 to 31 and memorization verse Mataji will upload as well. But very, very, very happy to see all of you, especially it's morning here in California, and so grateful to have your association.
Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasindhubhyeva cha, Patitaram Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so
So
much.
much.
Krishna.
Have a
Hare
good
Krishna.
time.
Please do number 1 west for 30 kilometers.